Welcome back to the Twingo channel, and today I am going to be having a look at this lock. Now it feels like somebody's actually busted the actual lock itself out and just pulled the metal around the actual lock mechanism itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently tap, using the PDR hammer, gently tap it back into shape. And I've got a new lock for it, but what I've got to do is, if the car will let me in, I've got to take all of the door card off and all of those parts, and then I've got to get in there and basically put a flat against there, gently tap this back in. Now I don't know whether the clip holding the lock itself is actually inside the door. It might have dropped through when somebody busted in, or they could have taken the whole thing out. Now I've got bag ties which I can put around the cylinder of the lock and to try and keep the lock in place. I have found a supplier who will supply the clips in there, but I'm not entirely sure how well that's going to work if the metal is a little not flat, because it may not be completely flat. So that's the day task. Let's get to it. Right, it looks like the actual metal has been creased in the corner. That's where they've actually shoved a screwdriver into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically uncrease that and then start the work of flattening it out, and I'm going to use back of one of those to try and give some sort of purchase on it. So here we go. It may work, may not. This is what happens when you buy cheap tools. Well, I've managed to actually uncrease most of this here. It's still not great, it's still not perfect, but it allows me to put the lock in, and I'm going to basically try to get this as flush as I can, and then I'm going to then throw some anti-rust on it, and then I'm going to put some zinc primer on it, just a little bit, just to protect it. So yeah, it's the best I can do. I need to get some more tools to actually do this. They're down packed away in the back of the garden in the sheds. So I'm going to call this sort of repaired. It's better than it was, and I should be able to open the door. Right, that's pretty much as best as I can get it. It's a little bit ragged around the edges. Yeah, it's not great, but it certainly allows me to put the lock in. The lock is nice and flat. Little ripples around here, and there's a little tear here on the metal. Yeah, it's about the best I can do. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mask up, clean this all up, then put some rust killer on it. The rust killer has been put on, so that will then convert any rust which is flash rusting into something which is inert. Once that's dry, I'm going to come back, clean it all off, and then prime it. Right, so I've managed to spray some zinc primer on that just to protect it. The lock does go in. It's flat enough for it to sit flush, so basically got to wait for that to dry, and then I will then put the lock on and connect it up, and hopefully that's that repair done. Right, I have just found the clip. Now I don't know whether it's going to work or not. It probably needs a bit of bending and a bit of sorting, but that might work. So hopefully it will work. Wow, it's actually working. So, seems to be nice and tight. Yep, that seems to work nicely. So there is, yeah, this is going to need sorting out properly, but that's a better solution than a bit of duct tape covering a hole. Right, well that's that one. Right, well that's that. So I think I'm going to call this temporarily repaired. So the door is fixed now. I've got 2 keys, one for one side, one for the other, and one for ignition, and one for the fuel cap. Just something you got to live with. But yeah, it seems to be working nicely. Thanks for watching, and look out for the next video.